It's right there in the media room. Yeah. Okay.
हाँ हिशाम हिशाम डिबजानी أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذروا آباءهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوه ما عززنا بطالة فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لو يشاء أيسألكم أجرا وهو مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أعتقد من دونه آلهة يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلك منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى ذاك الأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر والليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا شريك لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا ونطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يقسمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مركدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلكم بما كانوا يكسبون لو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستباقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه شعرا وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين ليدير من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون ودللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يروا الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جمع لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليهم وعلى آبائهم في هذه الساعة وفي كل الساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنوا أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فأعطيني به. فآتيته بالكساء اليماني فأعطيته به، وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلالو كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا قرتي عيني وثمرتي فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه إني أشم عندك راهية طيبة كأنها راهية جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جدا يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوزي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبلوا وقال: السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه إني أشم عندك راهية طيبة كأنها راهية جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم إني جدك وخاك تحت الكساء. فدني الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جدا، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء، فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك راية طيبة كأن راية وأخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال له عليك السلام يا أخي يا وصي وخليفتي ويا صاحب لواي قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذنوا لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال عليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بزعتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عادهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، واصحب عنهم الرجس، طهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل البيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها محمد. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم صادسا؟ فقال الله عز وجل نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يصري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذنوا لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليصحب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. محمد. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني من رسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة، واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال بي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني من رسالتي نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم محوم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الفاتحة.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على
صلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
يا حسين يا عباس يا عباس بس یا حسین بادشاہ 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 ایک سخا ہی سخا ایک وفا ہی وفا ایک سخا ہی سخا ایک وفا ہی وفا ایک کرم ہی کرم ایک عطا ہی عطا ایک عطا ہی عطا ایک محمد کا بیٹا ایک زہرا کی دعا کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ ایک جوانان جنت کا سردار ہے
دوسرا باد خیبر علمدار ہے
ایک جوانان جنت کا سردار ہے دوسرا باد خیبر علمدار ہے ایک خدائے صبر و رضا ایک قرآن وفا کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا جا پائے ہو ایک دو بادشاہ ایک وہ جس کی مرضی ہے رب کی رضا
ایک وہ جس کو باب الحوائج کہا
ایک وہ جس کی مرضی ہے رب کی رضا ایک وہ جس کو باب الحوائج کہا دونوں حرم کے بیچ میں بیٹھو مل جائے خدا یا حسین یا عباس یا عباس یا حسین کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ ایک سبیل و کمالک ہے شاہ امم
دوسرے کی نشانی ہے مشق و علم
ایک سبیل و کمالک ہے شاہ امم دوسرے کی نشانی ہے مشق و علم آج تلک دیتی ہے صدائیں نہر القمہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو
بادشاہ
ایک عطا ہی عطا اور شفا ہی شفا
ایک سخا ہی سخا اور وفا ہی وفا
ایک عطا
ہی عطا اور شفا ہی شفا ایک سخا ہی سخا اور وفا ہی وفا ایک دریا پر قبضہ ایک دلوں کا شہنشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا تیری پہچان خاک شفا انبیاء نے یہاں آ کے سجدہ کیا
کربلا
تیری پہچان چاند خاک شفا انبیاء نے یہاں آ کے سجدہ کیا
زہرا کے بیٹوں نے تجھ کو رتبہ یہ دیا کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ
مجھ گناہ گار کی معاف کر دی خطا میں جہنم سے سیدھا جنا میں گیا
مجھ گناہ گار کی
معاف کر دی خطا میں جہنم سے سیدھا جنا میں گیا چار قدم پر حر کا روزہ دیتا ہے صدا کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ کربلا کربلا تیرے دو بادشاہ صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
امام حسین کی شان میں بلند تر صلوات. اللہم صل علی محمد وآلہ. میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین میرا حسین دیجے سے زندہ ہے وہ ہے حسین. دیجے سے زندہ ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین اس کی رضا کبریا کی رضا راہب کو باعث رب اولا. اس کی رضا کبریا کی رضا راہب کو باعث رب اولا. جو بیٹے دیتا ہے وہ ہے حسین. جو بیٹے دیتا ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین کعبہ یا سجدوں سے بولا رکو میں سب کا قبلہ ہوں لیکن سنو جو میرا قبلہ ہے وہ ہے حسین. جو میرا قبلہ ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین. میرا حسین خالق کو پیاری ہے اس کی خوشی کی خوشی ممبر بنا لے جو پوچھتے نبی سجدے بڑھاتا ہے وہ ہے حسین سجدے بڑھاتا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین پر لے کے فطر اسے کہہ کے اڑا جو ہے فرشتوں کا مشکل کشا قسمت جو لکھتا ہے وہ ہے حسین قسمت جو لکھتا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین ایسی خطابت کبھی نہ سنی نو کے سنا کی بلندی سے بھی ایسی خطابت کبھی نہ سنی نو کے سنا کی بلندی سے بھی رب جس کو سنتا ہے وہ ہے حسین رب جس کو سنتا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین زہرا کا بیٹا ہے سب سے قریب خالق کی طرح غفور الرحیم حر یہ بتاتا ہے وہ ہے حسین حر یہ بتاتا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین دعویٰ سخن کا کیا نہ کبھی اپنا عقیدہ رضا ہے یہی جو شعر دیتا ہے وہ ہے حسین جو شعر دیتا ہے وہ ہے حسین میرا حسین میرا حسین جو ناز زہرا ہے وہ ہے حسین حسین میرا حسین پر محمد والے محمد صلوات
صلوا النبی نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا ہے حسین کیا حسین ہے نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے خدا کے دی کا نا خدا خدا کے دی کا نا خدا ہر ابتدا کی ابتدا کرم کی انتہا حسین ہے کیا حسین ہے نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے کرے جو کوئی ہم سری کسی کی کیا مجال ہے جہاں میں ہر لحاظ سے حسین بے مثال ہے یہ ہو چکا ہے فیصلہ یہ ہو چکا ہے فیصلہ نہ کوئی دوسرا خدا نہ کوئی دوسرا حسین ہے یا حسین ہے نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے کرے گے گر مخالفت غم حسین کی یہاں وہ حشر ہوگا حشر میں کہ الحفیظ و الامان جہاں بھی چھپنے جاؤ گے جہاں بھی چھپنے جاؤ گے کہیں پہ بچ نہ پاؤ گے کہ ہر جگہ میرا حسین ہے یا حسین ہے نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے جس کی فکر کربلا حسین وہ دماغ ہے یہ پنجتن کی انجمن کا پانچواں چراغ ہے حسن کے پہلے ہم سفر حسن کے پہلے ہم سفر علی کا دوسرا پسر امام تیسرا حسین ہے لبیک یا حسین کہ نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے یا حسین ہے نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے قضا کے بعد پھر مجھے دہی حیات مل گئی فشار سے عذاب سے مجھے نجات مل گئی سوال جب کیا گیا سوال جب کیا گیا ہے کون تیسرا رما تو میں نے کہہ دیا حسین ہے کیا حسین ہے نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے کرے جو کوئی ہم سری کسی کی کیا مجال ہے جہاں میں ہر لحاظ سے حسین بے مثال ہے یہ ہو چکا ہے فیصلہ یہ ہو چکا ہے فیصلہ نہ کوئی دوسرا خدا न कोई दूसरा हुसैन है, या हुसैन है, न पूछिए कि क्या हुसैन है। लब्बैक या हुसैन।
Our guest speaker, Sayyid Ali Abbas Razawi, Dr. Dungarsi, respected elders, brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of the Sijni Managing Committee, we would like to wish you all a Kushali Mubarak on the Wiladat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. As you all know, the newswire was sent out, I believe, late last week, and tomorrow is the Wiladat of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. As well as on Wednesday, we'll be having the Wiladat of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala. However, we have received news about this winter storm that's happening, and we're expecting about 10 inches or so. So, yeah, no school tomorrow. If we do have the snow, then program will be moved to online, where we will probably do it through Zoom, and we will send out any further updates on the newswire. On Thursday, we will have our Shabe Jummah program starting at 8:15 p.m. On Friday, we'll have Salatul Jummah with Sheikh Bilal starting at 11:30 a.m. Followed by on Saturday, we will be having a Milad program for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Hazrat Abbas and Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala. The program will start at 5:35 p.m. with namaz, followed by Surah Yasin. And then on Sunday, we will have madrasa starting at 10:45 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Tonight is the Shawat Shadi Majlis of Fatima Darsi of New Jersey, daughter of Ghulam Abbas and Masuma Darsi, to Kumail Devji of Los Angeles. Let's recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Tonight's program has also been sponsored for the Ithal Thawab, the Majlis of the following marhumin: Marhum Hassan Ghulam Hussain Darsi, Marhuma Layla Bai Hassan Darsi, Marhuma Latifa Bai Hussain Jafar, Marhum Dr. Abdul Hamid Kanji, Marhum Nisar Shirali, and all marhumin, as well as tonight's Surah Yasin. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mu'mineen, we would like to inform you that the planning for the month of Mahi Ramadan is almost finalized, and we have sent it out already. As you'll see, we have the sign-ups and the recitations. One important item is the iftar sponsorship. Please do consider sponsoring niyaz in the name of your marhumin. We are inshallah planning to have iftar every evening during the month of Ramadan, as we did last year. The target this year is $240,000, and alhamdulillah, so far we have been able to raise up to $15,000 so far. And as you know, these funds for Ramadan as well as for Muharram help sustain the programming for the center, and we are appealing to all our mu'mineen to please come forward to donate generously, especially in the first nights. Lastly, please join me in reciting the ayah of Amma Yujib 5 times for all those who are sick here and around the world. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul mustarra iza da'u wa yakshifu su. عما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Let's also recite another salawat, as I've just received word that Brother Nisar Kamali, father of our very own Brother Hussain Kamali, is back at home and is recovering. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Lastly, please recite a loud salawat for Sayyid Ali Abbas Razawi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، قال الله الحكيم في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر، صدق الله العلي العظيم. Tonight is an auspicious night for all of us as the followers of the Ahlul Bayt. I think it was 12 years ago when I was last here, during the month of Shaaban, and most of you are still as young as you were 12 years ago. But this month of Shaaban is an important month for us. You'll notice something that you don't see in any other month. Sayyid al-Shuhada's position is so lofty in the eyes of Allah that you'll find that in the month that he's born, there's no shahadat. And in the month that he leaves this earth, there's no wiladat. Even though in the month of Safar you find that there is a wilada. And across every other month, you find the very same thing. But the month of Muharram is such that because of the shahadat of Sayyid al-Shuhada, you don't find any wiladats in that month. And in this particular month, you realize there's no shahadat. These 3 months that are upon us are extremely important. It's Allah's way of shaking us up and really refocusing us, if only we understood. If we pass our days that like we do many a time ceremonially, you go to work, you come back, not focused about something higher than us, then yes, this month will come and this month will go. But Allah has given us 3 months, and those 3 months are there to revise us, to recalibrate us, to get us back onto Sirat al-Mustaqim. And those 3 months are Rajab, Sha'ban and Ramadan. So look, for everything outer you have an inner reality. For every inner reality you have an outer reality. In this creation you have 12 guides, which are known as 12 Imams. And these 12 Imams are one haqiqah, which goes back to the Prophet. Similarly you find within Judaism 12 tribes. Ibrahim had 2 sons, Ishaq and Ismail. Both of them had 12 children. And from those 12 children you found the 12 tribes of Bani Israel on the one side, and on the other side the 12 tribes of Quraysh later on, where the Prophet comes along from. Similarly, in the way that you have those 12, and 12 is important. You go to the Old Testament, you'll see this. In the book of Genesis, Allah says that from Mubarakah, which is one of the names of Fatima, 12 princes will come. Meaning what? Imama comes as an extension of the Lutf of Fatima. Now look, we don't have time to go into why that is, how that is, because the question you can ask me is this: Amir al-Mu'mineen is not from the children of Fatima, so why 12? Now the essence of Imam is from Fatima. Batin of Imam is from Fatima. So anyhow, 12 is an important number. So in the same way, if you look at the outer world, you'll see the same thing. You have 12 months of the year. In the olden days, each month was a guide for people, guide for the wise. When those 12 months come into one equals 1 year, that 1 year symbolizes Haqiqat al-Muhammadi, and those 12 months symbolize the guidance of the Imams. So within that you have 3 months. And these 3 months are important because they symbolize your life. You have Rajab. Rajab, the entire month of Rajab is the month of Tawheed. And you'll see this. The biggest dhikr in the month of Rajab is Tahleel, La ilaha illallah. Month of Rajab is important. The month of Shaaban, again, is important. So if I break it down like this, human beings' lives are broken into 3 parts. The first part of your life is until you become baligh. The second part of your life is when you attain the age of 33. Why? Because Amir al-Mu'mineen got his wilaya at the age of 33. Isa ibn Maryam was raised at the age of 33. 33 is an important number. And then after that, 40 and onwards is the third part of your life. The same way Rajab, Sha'ban and Ramadan, the philosophy of that equates to the movement of your life. The first month is Rajab, which signifies your Tawheed. So it means you teach your children Tawheed before they're baligh. And in the same way, the only thing that you find in the month of Rajab is that when the month of Rajab is coming to its nth, highest level, you find that the 13th of Rajab comes in there, and the Wiladat of Amir al-Mu'mineen comes into play. That tells you something, that if in the month of Tawheed, right in the center, comes the Wiladat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it signifies that Tawheed is not complete without understanding the Wilayah of the Imam. If the Wilayah of the Imam is understood, Tawheed is complete. Without that, it's not complete at all. Wilayah of the Imam is the batin of Tawheed. It begins Tawheed, because Tawheed is not the end. Tawheed was mandatory upon all of the prophets to come and teach. But Tawheed is not the end. This is why the 12th Imam's job is not to teach you Tawheed, it's to take you from Tawheed to Maqam Wahdat. So it's another concept. Every prophet's mission was to teach you Tawheed. Imam Zaman's is to take you from Maqam Tawheed to Maqam Wahdat. But again, we don't have time to go into that. So I'll park that. We move on. It's a complex discussion. It'd take me 5 nights to cover what Maqam Wahdat is. But you'll see in Hadith Haqiqah. When Amir al-Mu'mineen and Kumail have the dialogue, it's there. Maybe in the next 35 minutes, if I have time, I'll break down some of the concepts in Hadith Haqiqah, the Hadith of reality of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They say you can't understand it, I'll explain it to you. You can understand it, it's easy. It's not easy, but it's okay to understand. Why? Amir al-Mu'mineen is talking to Ghayr Ma'asum, so you can understand it. If Amir al-Mu'mineen was teaching Hadith Haqiqah to Imam Hussein, then I would say there's no chance to understand it. When Ma'asum talks to Ma'asum is different. When Ma'asum talks to non-Ma'asum is different. But anyhow, batin of Tawheed is Wilayah. Now move on. Second stage. You come to the month of Sha'ban. Sha'ban is the month of the Prophet, and Sha'ban is the month of Mawaddah. This is why you see from the first of Shaaban, Sayyid Zainab, Imam Hussein, Abul Fadl Abbas, and so forth, until you get to the 15th of Shaaban. And what brings together Rajab and Ramadan is the 12th Imam. That's why he's on the 15th. Brings together everything. And you'll notice another thing. All the birthdays are before the 15th. And then why is that? Again, there's a sir behind that. Again, there's a reality behind it. Why? We follow a lunar calendar, right? The cycle of the lunar calendar is such, the first 15 days according to the hukama is if you want to do something, whether it's business related or spirituality related, do it in the first 15 days, not in the decline. So you see that all of the birthdays come in the decline. And again, here's another topic of Najum, but we don't have time to touch it. So we go again. The old Vedic astrologers is quite interesting. 7 planets plus 2, 9 planets is where the entire Vedic astrologist rotates around. The last 2 planets were Ketu and Rahu. That number 9 is important because that 9 goes back to Nafs Kulli. The number 9 is Fatima. Therefore, the entire movement of planets is in the hands of Zahra alayhi salam. And you'll see this even within Irfan. If you look at the different stages of existence, the existence that creates creation is known as Maqam Jibrayli, which is otherwise known as Maqam Fatima. But anyhow, that's not our discussion. Quickly moving on, because I want to get to a particular location. I want to take you a place. Sha'ban, if you look at the greatest dhikr in Sha'ban is salawat. Why? Because it enhances the mawadda. Salawat is the most jami dhikr, you'll see it. There's 3 sections to salawat which no other dhikr has. You could do any other dhikr, but it doesn't hit like salawat. Does you know why? Allahumma, Allah is there. Salla ala Muhammad, Nabu is there. Ala Muhammad, Imam is there. Encapsulates 3 fundamentals within one dhikr. And this is why you notice, this dhikr is lofty in the eyes of Allah. Now they were on this. Somebody came to Ayatollah Bahjat and they asked him. They said, my daughter's not getting married. We can't find a decent proposal. So he looks up and he says, if I give you something, will you recite it? He says, yes. He said, if you recite salawat, kathrat as-salawat, meaning what? Meaning from the morning to the evening as many times as you can recite it. If you recite salawat, and when you're tired, if you recite istighfar, then you'll see a proposal will come. 7 days later, we were all in Masjid al-Fatimiyya. The person comes in and he says, guess what? I found a suitor for my daughter. That is the power of salawat. But we don't understand it, you see. We don't understand it. If you knew the treasures that you have, your solution lies in this. If you ever fall into difficulty, this is why they would say, make another for Musa ibn Ja'far. For example, 10,000 salawats. Ayatollah Kashmiri would say, if it's a big issue, 100,000. But learn to incorporate this in your life. Because you'll see, you get over examinations and all sorts. And I was asked, we have a lot of students here. They're going through trial and tribulation, difficult, especially exams. Look, I did my PhD because of salawat 1 year early. I couldn't submit it because in the UK you can't. But the power of salawat is such, it opens your mind up. It opens your intellect. Learn to the great ulama would do that. Marja Taqlid Ayatollah Araki used to say, the wali of his time, they used to call him Salman al-Zaman. He said, when I had a fiqhi issue, I'd sit down, take out my tasbih and start reciting salawat. And you'd see that it opens up. Mind opens up. But look, understand this. Sha'ban is the month of salawat. It connects you back to the love of Ahlul Bayt. And that's what's required for your hidayah. Nothing else will take you towards Allah but Ahlul Bayt. Bear that in mind. Nothing else will. Just Ahlul Bayt will, and the wilayah of Ahlul Bayt will. You think you can get directly to Allah? Allah's ghaib. Every single thing that you do to get to Allah is with a wasila. The name Allah itself is a wasila. The name Allah is Ism Jam. It brings together every other name in one. But it's a wasila. Allah's ghaib. You can't get to ghaib but with a wasila. So you use the wasila of the names of Allah to get to Allah. This entire creation is names of Allah. Look, I have water here. If you look at water, you know what it is? Somebody will say HO2, but it's not. Well, it is, but go deeper. There are 3 names of Allah that created this. Ar-Rahman, Al-Hayy, Al-Latif comes to create water. What is shaitan? You look at shaitan, you'll see. Ar-Rahman, Aziz, Jabbar, Mutakabbir, Mudhil. 5 names come together, produces shaitan. This mic, this kursi, yourself, me. Every one of us in creation is created by combination of names of Allah. So the highest you can come to understand Allah are the combinations inside of yourself. You can't get any higher than that. Do you know Amir al-Mu'mineen's combination? It's Allah itself, the name Allah itself. This is why the greatest wasila towards Allah to understand that which is ghaib is Muhammad and ala Muhammad. Nuh used the name of 5. Adam used the name of 5. Ibrahim used the name. Look at all of the Anbiya and see. When they wanted to get intercession between them and Allah, they used the name of 5. Why? The most comprehensive in all of creation. In the same way, Basair al-Darajat is one of our books in the time of the 11th Imam was complete. This book is older than Al-Kafi. In that there's a hadith that the angels used the 5 names to reconnect themselves when Allah disconnected them from Alam an-Nur. So these 5 are powerful. The names are powerful. Why? Because they manifest something. You know when you recite Nada Aliyan Madhar al-Ajaib, ever thought about what you're reciting? Nada Ali, call on Ali, who is what? Madhar al-Ajaib. Madhar is what? Makan of dhuhur of Asman Sifat of Allah. It is where all of Allah manifests into creation, is known as Ali's heart. Right? Bear this in mind. So wasila is important. You came here with a wasila, your car, and you walked in with a wasila, and you're listening with a wasila, and you're not Lady Mary, so the food had to come from the kitchen to you, and you had to eat by putting it in your mouth. And guess what? People always say you shouldn't ask imams for the rizq. Well, you go and ask your boss for rizq. But as Ayatollah Karbala would say, he would say that there's no risk in the world that comes, but that it doesn't touch the hand of Ali and it comes into creation. Risk, everything requires a risk. Wujud itself is a risk. For us to be living and for this microphone to work requires a risk. And that risk comes from the wala of the Imam. But I haven't even touched Imam Hussein yet. And time is moving, so I want to get to Imam Hussein. Why is Imam Hussein important here? If your month of Shaaban goes smoothly, only then does your month of Ramadan become successful. In your life, if up to your age of bulugh, then 33 goes smoothly, only then from 40 and onwards, which is your Ramadan of your life, runs smoothly. In the month of Ramadan, the greatest dhikr is Surah Qadr. Why is Surah Qadr so important? We have traditions on this. The Imam says, wet your lips with the recitation of Surah Qadr. Ayatollah Kompani, who Ayatollah Bahjat would say, if not like Qadi, he's nothing less than Qadi. One of the powers that Ayatollah Kompani had, he had this vision that he could look, pierce into you, and he could rectify your weaknesses just by looking at you. Ayatollah Kompani was a big scholar. He'd recite Surah Qadr a lot. Surah Qadr in and of itself has a number of realities. It starts off with this, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Layl hai is Fatima, Qadr hai is Amir al-Mu'mineen. And it goes all the way to Imam al-Zaman. Within Surah Qadr is encapsulated the haqiqat of Ali and Fatima and Imam al-Zaman. But look, why is this important? If your tawheed is correct, only then can you come to the maqam of batin. Maqam of batin is where maqam of Fatima, Amir al-Mu'mineen, and the 12th Imam lie. So look, this is why these months are important, that if we utilize them. But the fastest way of getting to Allah is the wasil of Sayyid al-Shuhada, nothing else. If I come here and say that I claim that we can learn about Imam Hussein, well, we can never completely know about Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein is that person whose land that is buried in. If you look at the tradition, you'll see when Allah expanded Mecca and created Mecca from the land of Mecca, they say the land of Mecca said to all of the other realms, they said, look how great I am, I have the Kaaba on me. Hadith says at that moment, Karbala looks up towards her and says, sit down again. Why? Because I'm greater than you. Why is that? Because Hussein's going to be in me. This is why Karbala has the same nisbah as the Arsh of Allah. Arsh Mu'alla, Karbala Mu'alla. Why? Because of one Hussain. We don't understand Karbala, we're going to understand Hussain. Take it a step further. Khak Shifa, right? Khak Shifa. In our tradition it says if you want to be preserved from black magic, always have Khak Shifa on you. If you want to know how not to get things stolen from you, or a robber to come and rob you at gunpoint, for example, or whatever it may be, Khak Shifa. To the extent they say that when Abdul Karim Ha'iri, the founder of Qum, the house in Qum, says that in the olden days Qum wasn't that big, so it ended with the Haram of Masama Qum is. A flood came. Flood came, that torrential rain, like you're going to have a snow tomorrow, snowstorm, but over there torrential rain came. That people, ulama, went to Ayatollah Abdul Karim Ha'iri, they said, you got to do something. He said, why, what's up? He says, the water is going to come all the way to the Haram, it's going to damage the walls, it's damaging our houses, our businesses are getting destroyed. Do something. You know what he did? Ayatollah Abdul Karim Ha'iri got up, came to the corner of the Haram, put his hand in his pocket, took Khak Shifa out, put it in the water, it comes down. Now you may ask me, how's that possible? I'll tell you one thing. In Muharram I said the same story in Dar es-Salaam. Got off the mimbar. So that's been said, it's been heard by others. Now the second part hasn't been heard. Got off the mimbar. Ex-president of Dar es-Salaam comes. He says, I've got to tell you a story. I said, go and tell me. He said, you know that when our people were leaving Somalia, I said, I remember a couple of years ago, he says, yeah, they were leaving Somalia. He said, as they were leaving Somalia, he says to me, you can quote me by the way. I said, fine, I'll quote you. He said, when they were leaving Somalia, they were on boats. A time came when you could see that the winds were getting such, and the water was getting such that the boat was about to drown. And they were worried and they needed to get to Mombasa. There was one man, one mullah who was on the boat who had Khak Shifa in his pocket. He took the khak out and he put it in the water. So the water calmed and the boat got to Mombasa. Khak Shifa. When there's turbulent times, if you imagine, Khak of Imam Hussein is like that. Now you may want to understand Imam Hussein. Look, the world is a world of challenge. The world is a world with its ups and downs. Each one of us sitting here has gone through trial and tribulation. But there is hope in the world. And there's hope in your belief that you have, in particular when it comes to Imam Hussein. Look, let me expand on this. Let me say a couple more things. And then we'll bring this discussion slowly to an end. Imam Hussein is that person. You look at his birth and you'll come to know. Imam Hussein's birth is such that when he comes into this world, you found malaika come down. Here Rasulullah says that multiple different malaika are coming down. Story of Karbala is told. Rasulullah cries. And I don't want to go into masaib. But the one thing here I will say is this. A secret is given at that stage. And the secret is this. Wasila of Hussain and everything which is attached to Hussain. Everything which is attached to Hussain is enough to give you shifa. The tears that you shed for Imam Hussain, there is no qaid on it. For ziyarat of Imam Hussain there is arif and bahaqqi. But the one thing is this, for the tears of Imam Hussain there isn't. Anyone who cries for Imam Hussain, those tears will benefit them in Qiyamah. Anyone meaning who? Whether you're Muslim, whether you're kafir, whether whoever you are, those tears are beneficial to you. Let me give you another hadith. But when it comes to the 12th Imam, they say that anyone who's born on the night of the 15th of Shaaban, hadith is there, anyone who's born, regardless of what religion they are, eventually will come back to the religion of Imam Hussein. Anyone who's born before they die, hadith is there, sahih hadith. Anyone who's born, go to the hospital and see, write all of their names down. Who's born on the 15th night of Sha'ban? All of them, when they die, they will have come back to the pathway of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Why? Through the barakah of Allah. Because of the bounties of the 12th Imam. So every Imam is given a bounty to us. And that we've got to utilize. So look, part of our discussion that I wanted to mention is this idea that in trial and tribulation, Because I heard there's a lot of that around, especially now. Things are getting more desperate. In moments of trial and tribulation, what does one do? There's a hadith. If I narrate it to you, I'm going to go break it down so that you can understand. Somebody comes to the Imam and they ask him, in particular about trial and tribulation. You know what he replies? If you look at the hadith, it's completely different from what you would have expected it. Hadith says this: implement sidq in your life and you'll see slowly trials and tribulations fall off you. They may ask me, what does sidq mean? Sidq means truthfulness, right? But there's 4 different stages of truthfulness that a person needs to apply. You know the first stages? The 4th one I won't mention because we can't do it. But the first 3 I will mention. First one is this: sidq in terms of your niyyah, right? I'll give you an example. They say one day Imam Sadiq brought in one of his companions, and the companion went to sleep, and in the morning when he woke up he felt embarrassed. He came to the Imam. He says, Mawla, I feel embarrassed. You were up all night praying, I was watching and I was sleeping. He says, you did a great thing, I couldn't do that. You know what the Imam says? He says, no, you also did a great thing. He says, but Mawla, I didn't even get up to pray. Okay, I prayed Fajr, but other than that, I wasn't praying 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours in sajda. He says, you didn't need to, you did a great thing as well. He says, Mawla, what did I do? He said, when you got up at night time when you were thirsty, you made an intention before you drank, you remembered my Jad Hussain. Because you remembered my Jad Hussain, your reward is the same. Your niyyah was correct. Here ulama say, if the niyyah is correct, slowly you find problems leave you. So here the ulama have said, make a niyyah for everything. Look, if I turn around to you and say qurbatan Allah, you're never going to say it. You're never going to say for everything, right? It doesn't come into our minds. But at least make niyyah means this. The first stage of niyyah is this: I'm thirsty, therefore I'm going to drink. That's a niyyah. I'm hungry, therefore I'm going to eat. That's a niyyah. I'm tired, so I'm going to go to sleep. So make it something that, don't do it just mechanically. Make a niyyah. Today I'm going to take the car to go to the mosque because it's cold. Or it's 4 miles and there's no, I'm going to walk 4 miles. So you make a niyyah. That's how it begins. It ends where? When you make a niyyah for Allah only. But to get to that niyyah that you make a niyyah only for Allah, it's not going to happen just like that. If I turn around to you and say, well, make a niyyah for Allah for everything, it's not going to happen, let's be honest. But when you start making a niyyah for things that separates you from an animal, for example, animal doesn't make niyyah. So that's the first level. First level is make niyyah. Second level, here the tradition continues. So the second thing is this: make sure your tongue, everything that you do is truthful. So now you may turn around and say, what does that mean? There are 20 major sins just in the tongue. If you can control your tongue, 20 major sins in the tongue leads to bala coming down. But who's that a salawat, please? 20 major sins just in the tongue. Amir al-Mu'mineen, there's a famous tradition by him. He says, there's one companion who's my friend. Imam doesn't call many people his friend, but here he's calling him my friend. He doesn't give the name of the person, but he gives the quality. He says, he's my friend because he's quiet. He has hirs of listening, right? But he doesn't talk much. You'll find that the urafa, when they get to the final stages of their journey, they come to a level which is known as maqam as-sukut, quiet. This silence opens their eyes to haqaiq. You know that bala comes down. 90% of all trial and tribulation is because of our own actions. And the vast majority of those actions are because of our tongue. When the tongue stops, Allah ceases to bring down trial and tribulation. Right? Think on it. I'm not saying just for the rest of your life be quiet. Because you've got to interact with your parents, your wife and kids, or your husband and so forth. There needs to be a balance. But don't talk for the sake of talking. You know, maybe not here, but every other center in the world, After I finish and the chai comes, then ilm rajal begins. That ilm rajal destroys everything, right? Because we all think right al-Akhuina to do ilm rajal. Fulan and fulan. What happens? And then bala comes down, and we don't even realize it. That for every action there's a reaction. To the extent that Amir al-Mu'mineen talks about the waba, pandemics coming, certain sins trigger that as well. But again, that's an entire ashra we don't have time to go into. But what we'll say is this, on this particular point: be vigilant when it comes to the tongue. Be vigilant. Third thing is this: sidq in your amal, in your actions. Let me give you a story. There was a big scholar by the name of Sheikh Murtaza Zahid. Now, Sheikh Murtaza Zahid is famous for his meeting with the 12th Imam. Now look, let me stop it here. You're going to ask me a question. Is it possible to meet the 12th Imam? Yes, it's possible. How do you meet him? Look, Shaaban, right? I'll give it to you for free. Ulama have said this: Ziyarat ala Yasin. If a person recites that between Tulu'ain, is what Ayatollah Sheikh Ja'far Mushtari would say, between Tulu'ain. Right, when is Tulu'ain? Fajr and before the rising of the first sa'at, the first hour of Fajr. If a person recites Ziyarat ala Yasin in that time for X amount of days, what you'll find is that you do ziyarah of the Imam, or you do mushahid of the Imam, or your heart connects with the Imam. Now, before I come to Sheikh Ja'far Murtaza Zahid, another story comes to mind. Let me give you this one, then I'll come on to this. They say in Najaf there was a guy by the name of Sheikh Muhammad Hassan. 3 things he was, you could say, mubtilain. There was 3 things that he found himself stuck in. Firstly was this: his health deteriorated. So every time he coughed, blood used to come out. Secondly, he was poor. Thirdly, no one would marry him. He'd like this woman, and her father was rejecting him. So somebody said to him, he said, look, if you want the solution, go to Masjid Sahla. And in Sahla for 40 nights, for 40 weeks, and those 40 weeks, 40 nights, recite this following amal, and then on the 40th night you'll see the Imam and he'll give you the solution. So he goes and he does it. It took an hour for 40 nights, did it. 40 nights later he's like, what a load of rubbish, man. So he goes, what are these guys? Before he goes, 1 hour, and for 40 nights I've been doing this. He comes and he sits down and he says, I've just wasted my time. He looks up and he sees that there's an Arab coming, Sayyid Arab. He goes, and he poured himself out just a cup of tea there. He goes, man, I hope he doesn't come to me, because otherwise I'm going to offer it to him. In those cultures you have to, right? He goes, and if I offer it to him, then I'm not going to get any tea myself, so what do? As it goes, the Arab walks towards him. Sayyid Arab, looking like a Sayyid. And he looks up and he says, oh my God, I'm going to now have to offer him. So he offers him the tea. He goes, I'm hoping, and he's praying, I hope he doesn't take my tea, because otherwise I've got nothing after that. And he goes, he grabs the tea and he takes it. Takes a sip and he puts it down. Took a sip and he put it down. Sheikh Muhammad Hassan says after he's taken the sip, he goes, I picked it up as well and I drank it. He goes, at the moment I didn't realize. Afterwards I realized when I drank it, all of my infection cleared up. And at that moment I looked up at the man and I still hadn't realized, and he asked me, he says, what are you here for? He says, somebody told me to come here for 40 nights. I've been coming here. I busted my back doing all of this. And there's no conclusion here. So the man looks up and he says, what is it that you want? He goes, I like this girl. He says, don't worry, tomorrow morning go to her father's. Sorted. Hey, what about my health? He goes, sorted. Poverty? He goes, no, that's the qadr of Allah. 2 out of 3 is good, right? He says, yes. Puts his head down, puts his head up. Sayyid is gone. In the morning he gets up, he realizes everything is sorted. He goes, let me give it a try. Knocks on the door. Old man comes out. He says, by the way, I've agreed you can marry my daughter. Right? What does that tell you? It tells you this: you have a living Imam. You have an Imam who, if you call him, responds to you. The problem is you and I haven't understood how to get his attention. Attention is simple. Look, if I'm going to be on my phone and I'm talking to you, I know you're not giving me any attention. I know you're wasting my time. And in particular, parents today, You know, when your child is talking to you, talk to your child, not on the phone, having breakfast, watching television. No wonder this generation at the moment is messed up. And its IQ is so low compared to any other generation. This 15 to 25 has the worst. Why is that? Because of social media. Why else? You know, you look at something from all of the religions. If you look at Judaism, 25 hours they have a detox on a Friday known as Shabbat. And Shabbos, there's no phones. Wonderful. Everything's off the table. We need a detox as well. Because I can guarantee you, most of us, when we wake up in the morning, even before Fajr, we look at our phone to see what's on WhatsApp. Right? It happens. So that's how we are. But we don't realize it's messing us up. Messing our minds up. Because remember, we've been created for something which is known as tamarkuz, unity. Tawheed of the mind. Tawheed of the mind doesn't come if your mind is scattered. And so you'll see, many people's span at the moment is not more than 45. Forget 45 minutes, 10 minutes. Binge watching on Facebook, 5-minute clip, 10-minute clip. Then you go on Instagram, 3-minute clip, 3-minute clip. And you move forward. And if there's something 20 minutes, you forward it up. Because you don't have the focus anymore. So imagine, can somebody read a book now? In this day and age? It's impossible, right? You can skim a book, but you won't read it anymore. The ability to focus is gone. So what's happened? Somebody obviously knows how to destroy the psyche. And so we don't have intelligent people anymore. Tamarkuz, meditate. So what do you do when you meditate? You're able to focus for a profound period of time on a single thing. What is tawheed? What is dhikr? What is salah? The ability to focus. We can't do that. You got to look at your phone. But remember this. If you're coming to the majlis of Imam Hussein, you're the guest of Imam Hussein. If you come to my house and you're on your phone, I'd say you're rude. When you come to the majlis of Imam Hussein, you want that, as you say, Ya wajihan indallah. So what are you looking for? You're saying to me, in the face of Allah, in the front of Allah, your face is acceptable to Allah. Ishfa'alana indallah. I'm speaking to Imam Hussein. I know that he's acceptable in the eyes of Allah. I want to grab his attention. But if you're coming to the mosque and you know that the malaika come in the majlis of Imam Hussein and Ahlul Bayt come and Nur comes and everything else comes, grab it. Why aren't you not grabbing it? Because our awareness is not there. You know, today when we say there's so much batil in the world, there's a famous tradition by Salman. You know what he says? In fact, Jabir comes to the Prophet. Prophet says in the last days there's going to be butlan, many batils. Jabir begins to cry. In those days, what are the people going to do? And if I live until then, what am I going to do? Even Amir al-Mu'mineen says, even the member will corrupt. You've seen this. If a person who's materialistic and worldly comes onto the member, he'll corrupt an entire community. Why? Asr al-wad'i. Asr of the soul of a person can corrupt everyone. If your leader's corrupt, then the entire community corrupts. We have this in hadith and you know this. So in Akhir al-Zaman, you've seen some of the traditions that the leaders will be corrupt. How do you overcome that? You have to reconnect with Imam. The fastest way is Imam Hussein. You know, we could go on 360 days talking about prayer and fasting and why it's important, and people come, my child is not praying and my child is not doing this and my child. Even if we were to give a lecture, they wouldn't change. You've got to change the heart. There's only one person who can do that, Hussain ibn Ali. And have you noticed, as year goes by, more and more people are going to ziyarah of Imam Hussein. It's as if Allah saves the Shia by bringing them towards Imam Hussein. So each one of us needs to reconnect and go back. Look, it doesn't matter it's not my business who's more pious and who's not. I couldn't care. Our responsibility is to take people to the door of Hussein. Then it's up to Imam Hussein. And this is why many of the ulama have said, they've said, if you want to see a heart which is still alive, take him to the zari of the Imam. If tears come in their eyes, their heart's alive. Otherwise it's dead, they're a lost case. If tears don't come, lost case. So it's Imam Hussein. That's the milak. That's the savior. That's the only thing that's going to save you in this earth. Spiritually, that is. Look, we've got time for one more story. Ayatollah Khonsari, a person said Ahmad Khonsari, in the 70s was a marja. Somebody came up to him and he said, look, you know my brother, he commits a lot of haram. Can you give him an nasiyat? Can you give him an advice? Ayatollah says, listen, now that everything's failed, you want to come to me? Then he sits back and he says, right. Man says, look, but you're the marja. If you advise him, he said, look, if he's not praying, fasting, doesn't care about religion, what advice am I going to give him? He's going to say an old man. Then he stops and he says, actually, there is one thing. You want me to give him advice? He says, yes. He goes, I'll give him advice on one condition. He says, what is that? Take him to Imam Hussein. If you can take him, then come back, I'll give him advice. He says, he doesn't go to Shah Abdul Azim. You want to take us to Karbala? He says, that's not my problem, that's your problem, sort it out. So in the olden days, in the 70s, Iraq was quite a good looking place. After the war, it is what it is. So they said, well look, let's go to holidays. Somehow, someway they got this young man to go to Iraq. And just like some of us, the first thing he did is not do ziyarat to Imam Hussein, he's going looking at the Durr Najaf. So there he is looking at the Durr Najaf. Risala salawat, please. I think higher realm messages are coming. There should be an off button on that. Have one more salawat, please. So he went and he bought his Durr Najaf and he bought his Firoza and everything else, just chilling out. Last day comes, accelerating to the last day. Brother comes and he says, look, you've come to Karbala, you've not been to Imam Hussein. He goes, why am I going to go to Imam Hussein for? Come on. I'm not even religious, I've come here for a family holiday, you know that. He says, please brother, just for us, for 30 seconds just go in and come out. He says, fine, because you're saying it, let's go. In the olden days, Bain al-Haramain used to be filled with homes and shops and everything else. And he's going and he's, laughing and he's smiling and everything else. They say he comes to where the Sahn is today, and slowly his head begins to go down. And as he walks in through the door of Imam Hussein, the brother says, I looked up at my brother and he was standing next to the Zari and he was crying. At that moment I saw my opportunity, I grabbed him and I said, look brother, make a promise to Imam Hussein, you won't do things again. He says, when they got back to Ayatollah Khonsari said, did he cry? He says, yes, they were tears, call him. He says, we don't need to call him anymore. Imam Hussein took care of everything. Ayatollah Khonsari gave a lesson. He says, if nothing can cure a person's sickness of the heart, the only person that can do so is Sayyid al-Shuhada. Right? That's why ziyarah is important. Look, my time has come to an end. 45 minutes or 50 minutes have flown by. Final thing I'll say though is this. On tonight, which is a night of happiness, not just for the people on earth, but the people of heaven, of the coming of Imam Hussein. All of you are sitting here, and I know there's going to be a storm. So many people probably in the safety of their homes. But those people who have come here know a power has brought you here. You don't come to the zikr of Hussein just like that. If you've come here, there's a reason. If you would have asked me a week ago, I didn't know I was going to be here. Ended up here, as it goes passing through. Why? This dhikr is important. Now when you've come to this dhikr and you're sitting here, do something. Make a dua. You know why? Because in this time, when the dhikr of Hussein is happening, and we're here on the birthday of Imam Hussein, they say the heavens open and dua becomes mustajab. Here ulama have said something. Ayatollah Bahjat would say, when you do dua, do it for everyone. Why? Because when it's for everyone, Allah accepts your individual dua. If you do it specifically for yourself, it's lower down in the queue. But if you ask Allah to accept the dua of everyone, at that stage Allah will accept your dua. And when you do istighfar, because they say do istighfar before you do dua, do istighfar for everyone, not just for yourself. Because that istighfar will burn and your dua will connect. So with that, let us pray to Allah tonight, that all those of us who are going through trial and tribulation, be it health, be it financial, be it family, be it with children, be it the inability to get married, whatever it may be, for the sake of Imam Hussein, may Allah alleviate our difficulties. For the sake of Imam Hussein, may Allah hasten the dhuhur of the Imam alayhi salam and make us all part of his ansar. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alayhi al-tahirin.
أفضل الصلاة محمد وآل محمد يا راكبا نحو المدينة قاصدا بلغ سلامي للنبي محمد وقل السلام عليك يا علم الهدى يا محمد جد الحسنين أحمد يا محمد. Brothers, usually when there's a Sharwati Shadi Majlis, we start with the munajat of Hazrat Abbas Ghulam, being to the Kushal of Imam Hussein. So I'll be reading as per your request the munajat of Imam Hussein. أفضل الصلاة محمد وآل محمد یا کردگار تجھ کو پیمبر کا واسطہ یا ذوالجلال حیدر صفدر کا واسطہ یا رب بدر دے پہلوے زخمی فاطمہ معبود تجھ کو حضرت شبر کا واسطہ سما شتاب کر دے میرے دل کے چین کا پروردگار واسطہ مولا حسین کا مظلوم تیشنا کانو جگر خستہ و غریب یعنی حسین کشتہ خنجر کا واسطہ قاسم کی نو جعفر و عباس کی قسم اکبر کا واسطہ علی اصغر کا واسطہ سما شتاب کر دے میرے دل کے چین کا پروردگار واسطہ مور رکھا تنور میں تجھے اس سر کی قسم جو بے کفن تھا اس تنے بے سر کا واسطہ رسوائیوں ملال و مرض سے گناہوں سے سب کو بچا لے تجھ کو بہتر کا واسطہ سما شتاب کر دے میرے دل کے چین کا پروردگار واسطہ دنیا میں سب کو جلد زیارت نصیب ہو حجت جو تیری 14 ان سب کا واسطہ کر مستجاب سب کی حیا رب یہ التجا فریاد و آہ زینب مضطر کا واسطہ سما شتاب کر دے میرے دل کے چین کا پروردگار واسطہ مولا حسین کا افضل الصلاۃ محمد وآل محمد خیر پانچونوں مل جادتان احمد والی زہرا وحسن شبیر سے لے امام زمان شبیر سے لے امام زمان ایک ایک پہ صدا صلوات پڑھو صلوات صلوات کے اس پہ نثار گوہر جو نبی یہ بلند صفات ہوئے صلوات صلوات و سلام یا امام زمان فرماؤ ظہور یا امام زمان صلوات زیادہ ملو سے
السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ یا محمد بن عبداللہ السلام علیکم یا امیر المؤمنین یا علی ابن ابی طالب السلام علیکم یا خدیجۃ الکبریٰ ام المؤمنین السلام علیکم یا فاطمۃ الزہراء سیدتی نساء العالمین السلام علیکم یا حسن ابن علی المجتبی السلام علیکم یا ابا عبداللہ یا حسین ابن علی الشہید بکربلا السلام علیکم یا علی ابن الحسین زین العابدین السلام علیکم یا محمد ابن علی الباقر السلام علیکم یا جعفر ابن محمد الصادق السلام علیکم یا موسیٰ ابن جعفر الکاظم السلام علیکم یا علی ابن موسیٰ الرضا السلام علیکم یا محمد ابن علی الجواد السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الهادي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.